Hi everyone, this is a special episode of Bubblegum Connects. I'm Lunga Ntila and I'm seated here with Rendani Nemakhavhani. Hi Rendani.
Well done. Well done.
How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling cool.
Sure.
I'm very happy that we're doing this together.
Same. We've been having these conversations like on WhatsApp, so it's nice to finally, continue it face to face.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'll start off by asking, what's the difference between President Honey and Rendani?
I'm starting to feel like there isn't much of a difference. Because President Honey comes from the project The Honey, which was basically an alter ego that I had created based on my uncle and my grandmother and just my childhood. But I feel like sometimes in my head I'm a rapper, even though I'm terrible, I'm the worst at lyrics and all of those things. But like the way that I envision my alter ego personality would be in that form, and I'd call myself President Honey if I were to be a rapper for real, which I won't be. But
why not?
I'm terrible. Like also because
get a ghostwriter. Nah.
I'm like, I forget words. Like I'm not good at the thing of speaking. Especially when I know that I'm being watched. I feel like rappers have this like super extra confidence that I don't think I could pull off. Like I probably could do it like for a day or two as a gimmick, but not as like forever ever, But yeah, and the reason why I say that I don't feel like there's a difference between President Honey and Rendani is because I feel like really President Honey is the part of me that doesn't want to like step out of herself. I don't feel like I have to tear myself apart to be those two different people or whatever. It does definitely feel like everything is starting to be one, because how I feel as Rendani is always projected in President Honey. So essentially it doesn't become like two bodies anymore, it's just one. Yeah,
I feel you.
Yeah.
I can't help but notice the dollar sign in President Honey. Then when I look at the rest of your work, you either speak about people getting the guap up or you do the notes, with the checks.
Yeah.
What's that all about? Is it about economic freedom, financial freedom, or is it just, telling Black people to celebrate that independence or that type of freedom?
It's about having money, man. I think also because like, as a person who didn't grow up in a rich family, and my family isn't like poor, but like you could see the places where there were gaps in the household, I think also because like I was very sheltered as a kid, and I learned very late that the places where money comes from at home isn't directly from my parents' salaries. My parents are both teachers, and teachers don't get paid a lot at all, And I realized as I was older that shit, we've been living on debt, So a big bulk of the things that we have, it's not necessarily because, my parents were able to afford those things. And also because I think there were times where I'd ask for things at home and I got really confused, because sometimes you'd get the thing and then sometimes you ask again and you're like, I don't have them. I'm just like, but I saw you get paid yesterday. So when did you got paid yesterday? What do you mean you don't have money, So I definitely get it now. But I also feel like Black people need to start being not apologetic about having money, because I've come to learn that there's a divide between people who have grown up with money and people who haven't grown up with money, and the divide is obvious, but it also just feels like the people who have money come into the cooler circles of the people who have made whatever cool that they have out of whatever that they have. And it seems like the people who have had money, they don't ever, and I'm not saying that, okay, tell me that you're rich wherever you come from, but it's always a surprise. You're like, oh my God, Lunga comes from a well-off family, but you've been hanging out with us, and like you've never spoken about this, and it's always just been like a weird thing, So I feel like money is a very difficult topic for Black people, but also as women, we don't get paid that much. And when you start to like say like, yo, I want R1 million for this work that I'm doing, like you get asked 1 million questions, like why do you think you should get that money, There was a story that Oprah was telling. She tells a story like a lot, and it's basically about how when she was still a news broadcaster, I think, or an anchor, and she found out that a white man that she was working with was getting paid more than her, but they're doing the exact same job. When she went to the bosses and asked like, yo, I want more money, I want to get paid the same as this dude, they were like, but why? He has a family, you don't. He has this, you don't. Like, what are you going to do with the money? You know what I'm saying? So it just feels like when black people start to speak about money, it comes from a place that almost sounds entitled, and it's not. And I'm just like, there's no ways that we should feel like we don't deserve money, because black people deserve money. You know, like, we can't always be abo no maini pozayami. Like, fuck that.
That's not sustainable.
It's not at all.
And it's kind of sad to see like some of our parents, mostly our parents, almost carry the burden of other people not reaching the levels that they wanted to in life. It's almost like an expectation. It's like, you're good, so help us out.
Yeah.
I ain't got no food in the fridge. There's almost no, it's like they don't take into consideration the struggles of the person who has so-called made it, you know? Such a weird relationship, and how we have to hide and be timid about it.
Yeah, and like, you
dislike
can't announce. I remember I just watched this swag-ass movie, but like the theme in it was basically that this couple becomes like billionaires overnight. They won a competition, and the first thing the guy says to the girl is like, yo, I'm gonna call my mom and my dad and my family and tell everyone that we have money. And the guy's like, you can't do that. You can't tell everyone that we have money, because now we're gonna have everyone like on our doorstep, you know? And I feel like the relationship which is not all the way our fault also, you know, the relationship that black people have with money, it needs to change. It needs to change, because even like when you get into corporate, I've found like people asking me things like, hey, so how do I bring up the money conversation? Actually, my sister, when she was going for an interview, she's just like, yo, so do I talk about money in the interview, or do I talk about it after I sign my contract? I'm like, after you sign your contract, they've decided what they're going to give you. You didn't tell them what you want, you know? So if they give you 10 rands, you've signed on 10 rands to get paid that. That's what you're allowing to happen in your life. So I think the work as a whole, like a big part of it is very much not a thing that I think about too much while I'm making it. But I always, I look at it afterwards, and I ask myself the same questions of, okay, what is the reason that made you do this? Like, why are you doing it? And a lot of the time I don't have an answer. But when I do, like now, it's because I've given myself the time to process and to think about like, what could be the things that triggered those thoughts in my mind, even in my subconscious mind, you know? Because I think when I'm working, I feel like I'm not in my body, if that makes sense. So I can't explain a lot of the things that are in the work. But when other people speak to it and they tell me what they're seeing and whatnot, then it becomes like, oh, okay, I can see why you're saying that. But I always, like, not always, but most times I don't have like a defined definition or answer as to why it is the way that it is. But also I love money, you know, and I deserve to have money.
You do.
You know?
I truly believe you do.
I'm just like, there've been random things that happen where people are like, oh, you look rich. And in my mind, I'm just like, you are correct. I do look rich because I should be rich. And I'm going to be rich, you know? And I don't think that's something that I want to shy away from. Yeah.
Own that. Oh, there's this lady, the one who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, who explains the whole thing of, you know, sometimes when you can't really explain, but, oh, this is why I did this and that, you know? She explains it as, imagine being in a house somewhere, like in an open field. Then you see this thing flying through, and if you don't make it there in time to catch the idea, then it passes on to the next house. And I think that's what happens sometimes when you create a body of work, and even when you look at it, you're like, damn, I snapped here, or like, what am I even trying to say here? So I can definitely relate there. So I can't tiptoe around the fact that something really cool just happened between you and Wanda for his spring summer 2021 collection. Yeah. Tell me more about that.
I mean, I've always been a big fan of Wanda's. I just really believe in his story. Like, I believe in his work. I believe in everything that Wanda does. And I tell him this all the time. I really wish someone could just like drop money on your lap so that you could do like more. And I really hope that you become a global phenomenon, you know, because And the thing is, Wanda's story is so simple, but like his representation and articulation of blackness in the way that he makes or thinks about the ideas and the clothes, it feels very much like home for me. And so when he asked me to help him with the poster, like I was just like, you know me, bruh, I'm gonna like do whatever, you know. So that was really, really like cool. Also because I feel like Wanda's a big deal, and for him to trust me with that was also like
It's quite powerful.
it's a big nod, you know, in terms of what he believes I can do for him, you know. So yeah, that was really, really exciting. I think just like from one homie to another, I would do it over and over again because I really want to see Wanda like prosper and go far, because he's been at it, you know. He really has.
But it's starting to pay off now.
And I'm so excited. I feel like it's gonna go places where we have never even imagined, even for himself, you know. Yeah, I just really, really love Wanda's work. I would work for him any day. He needs me to. So working on that in particular was like, it was, I don't want to say humbling, but it was very much, it just felt like he sees me, you know. Yeah, like, I don't know, that's it.
Yeah, I thought it made perfect sense because in your work you use a lot of women and hairstyles. So when I saw that, I immediately saw the relation between the two.
Yeah.
And I kind of appreciated how you're able to stay true to what you like to illustrate and bring forth. So shout out to that. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Another thing about you, I got all these questions. I'm like, where do I start? I love the fingerprint pattern that you consistently have. Why do you have that?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Damn it.
I don't know, but what I can tell you is that I can't draw, right? And every time I say I can't draw, I was like, but what you're doing is drawing.
Yeah.
I failed a lot of drawing classes in varsity. And so for our final year, they were like, you can do whatever you want to do. And because a lot of the things that we were doing were like figure drawings, and you had to like work with proportions, and you had to like measure things. I was like, I'm very terrible at that thing. Like the figures that I drew were always out of proportion, you know? And the lecturer was like, are you sure this is what you want to do? Like, are you sure this is where you should be? You know?
Sure.
And so when we got our final project in my third year, they were like, you can do whatever you want to do. So I went and I did some research on different drawing techniques that exist. And I found something called pointillism, where you basically just use dots to create like form and shape and stuff. So I drew like very easy basic things like leaves and butterflies and whatnot, because like leaves are a very simple shape. I don't have to think too much about it. Butterflies are also a very simple shape. And I passed with the distinction. I was like, oh my God, wow.
This is it.
Like, this is it right here. Because like the past 3 years I've been drawing and I've been failing. And like, that really, it brings your confidence down, you know? Because now you're like drawing it's an open room and it's an open class. So there's no like hiding of anything. Everyone literally is always just like walking around, and they're always doing like the reviews with everyone. Like the lecturer would come to mine and say, maybe you'll do better next time.
Also her, she never like
exactly. There was never like oh, you've got it here. Maybe if you could, you know what I'm saying? There was none of that. So I feel like I had to do that job on my own. And so as time went on, I just like, okay, look, I can trace a shape that I really want to trace, and I can just like put over the pointillism stuff, because I can manipulate it and do whatever I want to with it. And I think that's where the style in which I draw comes from, and where it's been growing from. And this was probably like, when did I graduate? 2013, that's a long time ago. And over time, what I've been doing is like finding new techniques. Also because pointillism like comes from a certain style of drawing and painting. Anyone can do it if they really want to. So there was nothing that was really like setting me apart in the work. But the thing that I really liked and took from that is that it creates a certain type of texture, which I like. So last year, round about this time, I hit up a producer. Also because I stopped illustrating for a long time. I took myself out of it. I was like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. It's not working. I'm not going anywhere with it. I might as well. Also because like the honey was picking up and then it didn't. And then, you know, so I was in a place where I was very stuck. I felt like super, super stuck. But I knew that I wanted to do stuff. I just didn't know how. So I hit up this producer guy and I was like, yo, dude, listen, I want to make an album cover for you. And he was like, sure, let's do it. And I made it and it was terrible. Like it was ugly, you know, but I enjoyed the process of doing it. And if you look on my Instagram page, it's a portrait of a girl with like hair coming down and then she has like love written in her eyes and it has a blue background and it's brown. So that was just like the part of it and he hated it and even I hated it after I saw it like 10 times after. So then I was just like, okay, look, this is nice. Let's see what we can do with these like lines and textures and stuff. And that's how I got to the fingerprinting thing. But it definitely wasn't a thing that's intentional, you know. And I think also because of the way that academia is built and structured, when people ask about work and things like that, because we're always taught in school like, yeah, everything has like a reason why it exists the way that it does, you know. And I've always felt like I found it difficult to explain some of my work. And yeah, like it's just how I've managed to develop my style, basically. Like I don't know what it will look like 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now. I may find like a different thing that I feel like could work, you know. And I just feel like as people who are creators and artists, we need to be evolving. And I'm not saying like do it every 2 minutes, but like if you look at the way that Picasso started versus how he was before he died, you know,
there's a definite change.
Yeah, there's a big difference. Because I think also when you're coming into it, you're doing the thing that everyone else is doing because, hey, this is how it works right now. But I think the people who do the best and who stand out more are obviously the ones who go and experiment more and they try themselves out and they do things that are not commercial. Yeah.
I find that one a bit tricky though, because as much as we have to keep in mind that we have to evolve, I feel like there's a certain thing that always pulls you back. Like, yeah, we love the fact that you're doing this now, but remember that, we like that, can you give us that? So I always just find myself like tiptoeing between these two worlds, like, oh, I want to move on though, and they're like, yeah, but we like this shit.
But don't you think it's because like people, I don't know how to explain it without like saying it's like a trend thing, where people like a certain thing at a certain time, and by the time that you've moved on, there are certain people who are only just starting to familiarize themselves with your work, because that's like, and I think it's always like the most random thing that you did that you didn't like think too much about, that pops off, and you're just like, I don't get it. I don't like, what do you guys love so? I don't get it. You're like, it's nice, but it's not my favorite one.
Exactly. You know? I have this one piece, the red one where I'm holding a cigarette.
I've seen that one.
I don't like that one. Because when I look at it now, that's the thing. I'm like, yo, I should have done my baby hairs. I should have done this. Oh, that picture haunts me. It's beautiful, but it's like not my favorite one. So yeah,
I think it's a thing of people getting used to you and your work, you know. So whatever they see in the beginning is always the thing that they hold on to. I think it's like music as well, where I'm gonna use Kanye. Like, people who are into Kanye, we all love old school Kanye so much, you know. And then as he started to evolve and change in his music, like, there have been people who've fallen off, you know. Like, even me, like, what was the album that he did where he just sounded like noise? Yo,
Yeezus, that one.
Was it Yeezus? Oh my God. I was just like, no, what is he doing? It's so loud. It's so, like, this is not the Kanye that I know, you know? So like,
it was loud.
Yeah, it was loud. And I was just like, nah, I can't do this, you know? And so like, you keep going back to like the older stuff where you're like, okay, this is the Kanye that makes me feel comfortable. This is the Kanye that I like. This is the one that's talking to me. And also, it's okay if you drop off. It just shows that like, you and him are just not in the same place anymore, you know. And like that red piece that you have, maybe it's the one that's going to bring you R1,000,000 one day, you know.
Maybe.
So as much as you're not so into it, I think like you shouldn't do the thing where you like write it off, because I feel like I've done that sometimes with some of my pieces where I'm just like, yeah, y'all like this, I don't know why, but you know, but I'm just not focusing on it all that much anymore, you know. And you're like, look at this, and everyone's like, no, but that one,
no,
you know,
not that one.
Yeah.
But you've had that bad experience with designing an album cover, and then you did this one for Rendani Nemakhavhani, and the brother moves on. How did you come to that end result? How did the music influence you creating that piece?
It didn't actually. Even though I did, they did like give me the music to listen to. I think it worked because I wasn't there. Like when I say I wasn't there, I mean like I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna make the eyes like this. Oh, I'm gonna make it blue. I'm gonna, you know. Firstly, the brief was like, they were just like, yo, we really love your work and we have this thing that we want to do and this is what it's about. Would you be keen? I was like, sure, this sounds amazing. Also, I love the brother moves on. Also, like, I just couldn't be, I was like, you're asking me, you know? And then like we had like a couple of chats about the work and whatnot. And I sent like, what do you call them, mood boards and stuff. And they were like, cool. Just like do whatever you want to do. I think those have always been the best briefs for me. And I started working on it. It went from, so my work is very like layered and it has like a lot going on a lot of the time. And so the biggest struggle was us deciding on simplifying it to the point where it is right now. Like it's not simple, but it is simple compared to where it started, you know? Like there wasn't a, oh, we wanted to be like this. They were just like, just do whatever you want to with it, you know? And in the various reviews that we had, like we spoke about what each of us felt about it. Also because I'd given like different versions of it. And Thandi like fought for the blue because it came in a brown and a green and like many other colors. And she was just like, I really love this blue, guys, you know? And she wasn't letting it go. And I'm so glad that she did that because every time I look at it now, like I'm so like in love with it. I feel like I didn't make it. Also, like I'm in a little bit of disbelief. Yeah, and I think also because like while I was making it, I wasn't thinking too much about it. It's gonna sound maybe creepy, I don't know. But I felt like I didn't make it. It was like I was utilized as a vessel. And there was like a bigger thing inside of me that was doing it, you know? Like that's the best way that I could explain it right now. Because they were so like receptive of my ideas, you know? I think if you're doing work for people, especially in a thing that you are so well versed in, and when they critique you and they give you like negative critique, you kind of like start to doubt yourself when you're doing the work. But also when you get like positive critique, if it's just like positive all the way around, it's just like I feel like something's up.
Y'all are not telling me everything.
Like someone's not being honest, you know what I'm saying? So working with them was really amazing because they were honest, and when they didn't like something they said it, and when they were happy with something they said it. So I didn't feel like anything was off, like it was smooth sailing, even though it took longer than we had anticipated. It probably took about 3 months for us to get to where we were. But yeah, like everyone is happy with the results and I'm super, super stoked. Every time I see someone holding the vinyl, like, I'm just like, yes, I did that.
That's my baby.
I did that. So yeah, I'm very, very proud of that job.
Well done.
Thank you.
I kind of feel like the whole feeling you get when you're creating something kind of speaks back to our history as Black people, because that's how we tell on stories and archive stories. So it almost makes sense that you'd zone out for that moment. Yeah, I truly believe that's when an ancestor genie or whatever comes in like, yo, add this, tell them this, you know. Then they back off and then you bask in that glory. It's a weird thing to explain. I really wish one day I could get to the bottom of it, of what's that trance like feeling that happens in between. How's your experience of the art industry in SA, in Johannesburg, let me say?
it's so difficult to get into. I think for the past year I've been trying, and it just always seems like someone has like you have to know someone in the thing who knows, like, you know, and I don't know if it's just me and not, I don't know, like it's difficult, basically, you know, and sometimes I wonder why. I mean, like, I understand the structure and whatnot, but also in the way that I make my work, I really want it to be accessible, especially to Black people, you know, because Black people aren't taught art in the same way that white people are, for example, especially in this country. When I was in high school, we had art as a subject, and my dad's high school, he taught Epimville. They didn't have that at all, like, and for me, it's just like our foundation phase doesn't allow for us to digest art, you know. So when you get into it, like, and by get into it, I just mean like knowing like what art exists, what kind of art existed before, what kind of art has been made now. Like, it becomes very difficult for the person to grasp what's happening, let alone for the artist to like now try get into that space, you know. I mean, I've spoken to galleries, I've spoken to people who work there, people who work outside of, people who are artists also, you know, and it just seems like there are secrets that you're not going to be told of how to get in, like who to talk to, or you're just like chasing people the whole time. I think the thing with me is that at some point I got tired of doing the chasing, you know, and I've decided that the way that I'm gonna get into art is I don't wanna like put too much control over it on my end, you know, because I feel like it takes away so much time in me actually like making the work, because now I'm always just like strategizing, like, okay, if I post this at this time, or if I send this to this person, you know, like it becomes like too strenuous for me. I even try to go like the management route. We need to get into it.
Oh no.
I was told that, oh, I don't have capacity, or and I tried like 2 different people, you know, and the other one was just like, oh, actually I don't have like the time for this or whatnot, which I understood. But also I think it's a blessing in disguise to not have that. Yeah. So why are you saying
I haven't had a good experience with it, you know. You always walk in, maybe my understanding of having a manager is like not the reality of it, because I thought having a manager means, yo, we'll sit together and like, this is the list of things we want to achieve. How can we make this happen? Yada, yada, yada. But as I got into something like having a manager, it slowly shifted to, all right, I'm gonna just help you sign these contracts. That's it, you know? And when I was like, oh, but she said we're gonna build together, we're gonna do this. It's like, nah, B, this is it. And like, even to the littlest things like negotiation, you know, someone who cares about what we're trying to build would also know, but Joe, don't do this. Even if I know you want the check now, but rather, if they can't pump it up, leave it, you know, not someone that will lead you blindly into something. So, yeah, that's why I was like, maybe someone else, maybe that person wasn't right for me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say they're not a great manager, but there was just a very big misunderstanding. But also a lot of, when you speak to the grootmans of the game, of the art game and whatever game, they'll always say, don't get a manager, don't, like, always stay independent. And it makes me wonder, like, what do they know that we don't know? Outside of it taking away from your cash, what's the bad thing about being managed under a gallery, you know?
That's the thing, that like people don't they don't equip you with information, you know. And I was watching some interview a while ago, and while the people were talking, the one guy started speaking about his process. And then while he was speaking, he was just like, oh, but I don't want to like get into the details of, you know. And I feel like that is so weird for me, that we're in a space where, number one, we there are many of us, right, who are trying to get into like the white wall space, but also like we don't have the right information. And when you speak to people who do potentially have the right information, they're not willing to help you, like even with basic things, you know, like how do you present yourself to a gallery, or if you want to be part of a group exhibition, how does it work? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like for me, I've definitely come to a place where it is what it is. And obviously I want to be commercial. Like I don't want to have to depend on my 9 to 5 to sustain myself. You know, I want to be able to do my art on a full-time basis. I want to travel the world with my work, you know, but it just seems like it's very like difficult to get into. And I think it is because of the amount of information that is accessible. I mean, like, yeah, the internet is there, but the internet doesn't know absolutely everything, you know. There are some things that you can only get from people and not directly from the internet, because people don't share information, you know. Yeah, so to answer your question, it's been very like difficult for me.
There's also like a bit of tiptoeing around, like no one wants to step on people's toes. There's that as well. We speak about that a lot, like, oh, you know, I wish there was like more, like we'd criticize the constructive criticism, you know, more of that, even if it's directed at me. Yes, it'll hurt at that moment in time, but I'd rather know if I'm messing up somewhere than to be told, no, it's fine, or be told nothing, you
also
know?
because we've had this chat before.
A lot of times.
And it's just like crazy that the only, and I don't know if it happens in people's like close circles, like off the internet, but I'm definitely always open to critique. It's like what we were saying earlier, like if it's too positive, it's just like, there's something like amiss, there's something wrong there, right? Also, if it's just like negative all the way, then there's like no space for growth, you know? So I don't know. And I ask myself this often, like people who are creating work, because it seems like we're clapping for everybody and we're not doing the thing of establishing good or like telling the difference between good from bad, you know? And I remember saying to someone that if we're going to do work, it needs to be really good. We need to be able to compete on an international level. Because if you're always doing subpar work and everyone's always clapping for it, you're obviously going to think, okay, I'm so great, I'm so amazing, you know? And that's all, you're never going to want to like break your own barriers and grow and all of that. And I feel like it's difficult also because like sometimes you'll be called a hater or whatnot for not always being on that person's side. And I don't even think it's a matter of like taking sides or whatnot. It's just like being honest about,
just saying
about
what
work.
you feel about something.
Yeah, also because I feel like if you're a person who's presenting work, like people in corporate, for example, are harsh as fuck. Like if you present something shit, they will tell you, you know? So if everyone in the street has been saying like, oh, you're so amazing and whatnot, but then you go to the actual people at the top and the work that you're presenting is not something that they feel is gonna like do well, like how are you gonna, like you're gonna crash, you're not gonna be okay, you know, because everyone around you has been like telling you that, yo, you're super, super dope. And I feel like for me, I'm always open to direction, which is why I think I do well on like a couple of the briefs that I've been on, you know, because I'm able to take direction. Even though like if it were up to me, obviously I'd do whatever I wanted to do everywhere. But sometimes you just really have to learn how to play with other kids to make things work. So yeah, I don't know why I'm saying this, but
I'm taking it all in.
Yeah.
Sure. I think as creatives, there's a lot of moments where we don't know how to detach ourselves from the works. Maybe you feel like what you want to, I think not even as a creator, as a human being, you feel like, okay, where you want to go versus who you are now, it's quite the gap to fill or to bridge. In those moments where you feel like, shit, how am I going to get there? How am I going to do this? What motivates you? What do you do to pick yourself back up?
I mean, I think I have those moments at least once, twice a month, you know, because you always ask yourself the question, why am I still here? Why am I not like in a different place in my career or whatever? And the thing that's worked for me is I listen to and watch a lot of interviews. And the thing is, people say the same things over and over again, and it just seems like, oh my goodness, I've been doing this for so long. They're like, you haven't actually, you know, you just need to like keep going, because you never know when the spark is gonna like go on, because like things happen in a way that you could never imagine, and when they do, you need to be somewhat prepared for them, you know. So watching a lot of like interviews of people that I really look up to, and just listening to a lot of podcasts as well has helped a lot, because you start to feel like, okay, actually I'm not going crazy, and I'm okay, and everything will be fine, you know, as time goes on. And I should just like be persistent and consistent in whatever it is that I'm doing. But yeah, it does get really, really difficult, you know. But definitely hearing other people say those things about themselves helps quite a bit. Yeah.
And what does your future look like in your ideal world as Rendani? That's in 2021, because of course that will change over time. But right now, what are some of the milestones or some of the things you'd like to achieve?
I want to be a rich bitch.
All right.
Like that's my number one, because like I hate struggling. I hate not being able to utilize my time the way that I want to. Like a lot of the time, or rather when I started working in advertising especially, I felt trapped while in advertising, mostly because like it's almost like my brain couldn't adjust to the rigidness of advertising. You know, there's like a certain structure of how work must flow, how work must be done. And I remember once saying, I think I was saying it to Lazi like years ago, like we were just talking about work, and he was asking me, so what do you want to do and whatnot? And I was like, you know, I want to be the girl that does whatever she wants, but in advertising. Like I want to work in my style, but in advertising. And he was like, that's such a cute dream. And when I think about it now, like he wasn't lying, because the struggle there is that you're working with certain brands and they've already established a visual language of their own, you know, that you need to adapt to. They're never going to try to adapt to what you want, no matter how cool or how ahead of your time you are. Like brands, especially in South Africa, aren't brave enough yet to do that type of thing, you know. So there's always like a big pushback. And I've just always felt like, yo man, like I deserve to be in a place where I can make what I want, how I want, when I want, you know. Like time for me is a very big asset, and that's the thing that I foresee in my future being like really available for me. But like I'm very grateful for the calm for me personally that came with the past year, because while having my advertising job, and I think only because like we were at home, if we were still working from the office, I would not have been able to do as much work as I did last year. But working from home made me realize that I don't actually need to be in the office every day. I don't need to wake up at 5 a.m. every day to be at the office at 8 a.m. You know, I saved so much time, and I was able to dedicate time to doing what I really want to do, which I would like to be more like, I want to switch them around. I want to like maybe consult in advertising and then do my illustration work like all the time, and make that the thing that pays my bills ultimately. And I think like living in South Africa, that's being discouraged quite a lot because of, man, like the government doesn't love us, number one, you know, so we're always like struggling for like little things. And the more I think about I should go overseas, the more like it makes sense for me to want to, because there's really like, I don't want to say there's nothing for me here, but the more you like pursue and trying to like go all these different avenues, it just always feels like there's a wall, like I'm always hitting a wall, you know. And I think the way that the internet has it, it makes it seem as though like you're popping or whatnot. And I'm just like, I want to pop for real. Like my wallet should be fat all the time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like I definitely want to be an artist who makes money, you know? And I think a lot of the time when artists speak about making money, it comes from like a really shy place. That's not something I want to be shy about. I need you to know that I'm here to make money, and that's what I want to do. And yes, there's the whole greater good of me making really beautiful work or whatnot, but like also I need to eat, you know? I think a lot of the time many artists are very frustrated because you have so many things that you need to consider. Like the thing of having a job that has helped is that I don't have to worry about food, I don't have to worry about a place to stay, I don't have to worry about like basic life things, you know? I have those things secure because I have a job that's maintaining that. And I can also continue with my art. Like the things that are stressing me in the art space, that's just it that's stressing me, you know? And I feel very grateful for my situation because not a lot of people can say that. Not a lot of people can be on some like, yo, like I've heard like some really, really sad, terrible stories, you know, like people are trying to push their work, but also now you're like fighting at home, you don't have money, you don't have this, you know what I'm saying? Like the balance is always off. So yeah, I definitely foresee myself being someone who's known across the globe, someone who gets paid well also, because it doesn't help to be known, but then like, you are not doing well at all, you know. Because I want to live a nice, soft life. I want to
You just want time.
Yeah, I do want
to
time.
do all of that.
Exactly, you know. And I want to travel, and I want my mom to like quit her job. You know, she's like old now. You know, my mom shouldn't have to be working at her age. She should be like getting free money from me. You know, so yeah, I definitely also because I'm a simple hand. I just like gold things and
I didn't know that. You like gold?
I love it, you know, and I just want to be able to be happy, bruh. Like the story about us black people can't always be, oh, you know, my life was so difficult. Fuck that shit. You know.
That's over. That's not our story to tell.
Yeah, it shouldn't be
our parents' story. Now we're
even they should be able to say like, oh my goodness, like I'm good now, you know. Like we're still worried about debts and this and that and not like it's super stressful. So like future me needs to be a badass rich bitch. Yeah.
Okay.
What does future you look like?
Oh damn. No, it's not about me. Future me just has the time and the luxury to just think. That's all I want. I wanna be able to pursue my interests. I know I'll grow from those pursuits. I don't know yet what that looks like or what it will feel like because life has surprised me many of times. You'll set this benchmark like, oh, I want to achieve this by, you know, when I'm whatever age or whatever years old. Then you achieve it now, then you're like, oh, okay. So I don't know, I don't have anything set to answer your question. I just know that I want to have time to think. I want to travel as well. I want to pursue my interests and just grow. That's all I can.
I feel you. Yeah, like having time is like nice.
And that's what differentiates us to sometimes white people is that they have time to think. Their mind is not cluttered. Not saying this is for every white person, but that's why in the arts class they were like, whoo, because their parents support that. They're like, oh, you want to paint? Yeah, here's paint. You want this? Here's that. You know, their interests were nurtured at a very young age. So, yeah.
Life's crazy, man. But I feel like there are things in store that I probably haven't even imagined yet. And I'm just looking forward to it, man. I think like same as you, like I don't really know. Like I can't give you, this is exactly what my future looks like. But definitely like poverty is a thing that I'm not embracing, you know, like it's, nah.
That's not the one.
No, not at all.
Do you believe in manifestations and prayers and stuff like that?
I do. As much as manifestation has become like the it word now, I've always believed in there being higher power than me, you know, that I'm not in total control of my life. As much as like I'm a little bit of a control freak because I'm like a perfectionist almost. And there are like small things in life that teach you to let go, you know, and I've learned to do that, and just to like, also because my grandmother was like a praying lady, and so is my mom. So I grew up in a household where like church and God is very important. So I've always like had that in me, and I think the place that I'm at now is that I feel like I want to be more intentional about that. And probably like in the last year or so, I've looked into myself more, and the things and the parts of my life that I don't understand, I attribute that all to God, you know, because He's the all-knowing and whatnot. And I feel like He guides me, you know. Also, I'm not like religious. I'm not religious at all. But I do believe that with the background that I have and my belief in God, and me also trying to navigate that relationship with God, that I'm guided like every day, you know, even when I'm doing like ridiculously dumb shit, I'm still like guided because there's always a lesson that comes from that, you know. So yeah, I do. And I think like even in the times and the parts where I'm making work and I can't explain it, that's also like a part of God, you know, doing the work through me or whatnot. So yeah.
If we were to maybe conclude our conversation with the prayer, not like like close your eyes, not like a mini manifestation, a sentence to what you want for yourself. It could just be, you know, I just pray that things unfold as they were already. Or I don't know.
I really hope and pray that the direction that I'm going in my life right now is one that places me in the place where my heart desires most, you know, because I really want to be happy. I want to be chilled. I don't want to stress. I just want to live life, Brad. Because like when you look at people who, I don't know, like people who just like have yachts, for example, you know, like how do you just have a boat? Like
for the
it's
summertime.
just your boat with your name on it. You know what I'm saying? The world is crazy in the way that it works, because I think we're all aware that in each lifetime, there's always like one person or 2, 3, maybe 5 at most, if we're lucky. People who do like astoundingly like amazing in life, you know, like your Beyoncé's, your Rihanna's, your like, there's a lot of them, right, who become like sensations. And the thing about those people is that you can never say, on this day, Beyonce did A, B, and C that made her pop. You know, I hope that I can find myself to be in a place where I'm not trying to figure that thing out too much, because I feel like many conversations that I've had with people are always trying to figure out, oh, what is the thing that makes you be the way that you are, you know? Yeah, and I just trust that God will guide me and bring me to a place where I'm meant to be, and a place where I will always feel fulfilled and happy, especially in my work. My work is like really important to me. So, yeah.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for tuning in, guys. Please don't forget to subscribe to Bubblegum TV, like the video, share it to your friends, and click the notification bell. Please also follow us on our social media channels, Instagram mainly, at Lunga _Ntila, at President Honey No Vowels, you know, so PR DNT Honey, and of course the Bubblegum Club.